Once again, hello, my YouTube friends, and welcome to the channel. My name is Q, and this is Q's Beyond Fashion. In today's video, we're going to be making this gorgeous dress that I'm wearing right now.
This is part 2 of our last video. The last time we drafted the dress, and in today's video, we're going to be sewing the dress together.
Let's get to it, shall we?
Start with the front. We lay the pattern pieces on the fabric. We first fold the fabric into two, and then we ensure that the center front is along the folded edge. Next, we cut around the pattern pieces, leaving a sewing allowance of 0.5 of an inch. These are the front pattern pieces after cutting them together. Next, we transfer the dart from the front of the skirt to the fabric. Next, we arrange the patterns according to how they are going to be sewn together. And then we fold another fabric into two and place the back patterns. Cut out the back fabric to separate it. At the back, leave a zipper allowance of about 0.75 of an inch. And then we hold the patterns with some weight and cut them out. Leave a seam allowance of 0.5 of an inch around the rest of the patterns. Next, we transfer the darts from the patterns onto the fabric on both the bodice and also the skirt. And then we put away the back. Next, we fold another fabric and place the sleeve. Cut the sleeve, leaving a seam allowance of 0.5. Around the hem, we leave a seam allowance of 1 inch. Mark the front and also the back of the sleeve. Next, we start working on the front. We have cut out lining pieces for our top. We have 2 pieces for the side front, 1 piece for the center front, and 2 pieces for the yoke. Next, we pin the darts on the skirt front. Next, we pin the side front and the center front. Next, we sew the bodice and also the darts on the skirt. The skirt and the bodice have been sewn. Next, we are going to press open the prints and seams with a steaming iron. We have pressed both the bodice and the skirt. We have also done the same on the lining for the top. Next, we place each yoke with the corresponding lining. Make sure the right sides are facing each other. Pin around the area that we are going to sew. After sewing the yoke, next we are going to snip around the curves. And then we turn over the fabric to the correct side. We make use of a safety pin and attach it to one side of the fabric. Then push the safety pin inside to turn over the fabric. Do the same to the other yoke. This is how both the yokes look after pressing. Next, we find the center of the bodice and make a notch. Then place the yokes on the bodice as shown. Make sure the right sides of the fabric are facing each other. Next, we pin the yoke in place. And then we sew on the pinned area. Next, we place the lining as shown and we pin it at the top. And then we sew the fabric and the lining together. Next, we flip over the fabric to the correct side. And then this is how it looks. We press it at the top for that neat finish look. And then it's time for attaching the skirt onto the bodice. Start by finding the center on both the skirt and also the bodice. Next, place them together, right sides facing each other. Make sure the center points are aligned. Pin the top and the skirt together. And then sew around the waist. This is the front after sewing it. Next, we start working on the back. We'll start by sewing the darts, so we pin them on all the back pattern pieces. This is how the back looks after sewing the darts and also pressing them. Next, we attach the lining onto the back bodice. Place the lining and the main fabric right sides facing each other and then pin around the neck. Next, we sew around the neck and then we make some small cuts all around. Flip the lining and then sew a small seam on the edge as shown. And then completely turn over the lining and press. Next, pin the back pieces along the waist, right sides facing each other as shown. Next, we sew the waist. We also sew together the back pieces along the center back, leaving space for the zipper at the top. Next, we attach the zipper. Back to the front, we are going to measure the V from the side up to the center. We get 16 inches and then we multiply that by 2 for the two sides. Next we need a long strip of fabric which we are going to gather. To get the length of the fabric, we multiply the total front V by 2.5. 32 times 2.5, the answer is 80 inches. If your fabric is not long enough, you can join two fabrics and sew them together like I did. How long you want the fabric to be going down is totally up to you. You can make it anything from 10 inches up. It depends on how long you want your dress to be. Mine is 18 inches. Next we gather the fabric. We have sewn 2 lines for gathering the fabric. Use the widest stitch and also a loose tension for the gathering lines. Next we gather the fabric by pulling the thread and pushing the fabric backwards. Measure the gathers to make sure they are the same length as the front V. And they are indeed 32 inches. Tie the thread at the end. Make sure the gathers are evenly distributed. Pin the gathered fabric onto the front V. Next, sew around the pinned V. This is how the front looks after sewing. We have already sewn the gathered fabric onto the back of our dress. We followed the same example as the front. Next, we join the back and the front of our dress and we sew it together. The dress has been sewn along the sides, as you can see. We have also overlocked the dress and hemmed the bottom. Next, we are going to pin the shoulders and sew them together. After sewing the shoulders, we open the seams on both the main fabric and the lining. And then we start working on the sleeve. Mark the points where we are going to start gathering the sleeve head. At the sleeve hem, we are going to create a casing and then insert an elastic. And then we measure the armhole of the dress. The armhole is 18 inches. Next, we gather the sleeve head. Next, we measure the sleeve head to make sure it is the same length as the armhole. The sleeve head is 18 inches plus 1 inch for seam allowance. Next, we measure the circumference where the sleeve is going to end. Mine is 13 inches. Next, we cut an elastic which is 13 inches minus 2 inches. That would be 11 inches in my case. Then we insert the elastic onto the casing using a safety pin. Next, sew the sleeve. Next, we pin the sleeve onto the armhole and sew it. This is how the sleeve looks after sewing it. And our dress is now complete.
Thank you, my dear friends, for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and also leave us a comment in the comment section. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel if you are still not. See you next time. And remember, you can do all things through Christ who gives us the strength. Bye.